Hi, everyone. I'm Dr. Seth Meyers, clinical psychologist, and I'm going to spend a little time today talking about gaslighting. This is a behavior that can be incredibly frustrating to be on the receiving end of. In fact, if this were an article, let's say the title of the article would be Among the World's Most Frustrating Behaviors. That's how difficult it is when someone engages in gaslighting with you. So let me kind of explain what gaslighting is. Gaslighting is when someone engages in behavior that causes you to question your own reality. Now, one example, take someone that maybe you have a frustration with, you're upset with about something. And so you go to that person and you tell them what you're upset about. The average person who is healthy and will listen will hear what you have to say, and maybe they'll have some sort of response to it that acknowledges what you said. When you tell someone what you say and they are a gaslighter, that individual will flip it around on you and they will begin labeling you often with words that are really negative. Now, it's not your average person's job in a relationship to be diagnosing everyone else, but that is exactly one of the things that happens with a gaslighter. They may tell you, oh, you're paranoid. This is all in your head, or you have a problem. They may triangulate other people into this and say, I've talked to other people about this, and everyone thinks that you're really off in this way, that this is really your thinking that's a problem. This is your perspective that's a problem. No one else would have a problem with this. So, in this way, the gaslighter makes you question your reality, makes you think that something is wrong with the way that you perceive something. Gaslighting is really a very confusing experience. And if someone is on the receiving end for too long of gaslighting, it can really start to wear you down. It can really start to, over time, make you question, wait a minute, is something wrong with the way I think? And this is a really subtle but really nefarious control mechanism that a lot of gaslighters engage in. They try to chip away at your self esteem, at your sense of reality, at your confidence. Someone who has been in a relationship for too long with a gaslighter will start to really have lower self esteem. They'll start to become more indecisive, not trust their own judgment. They'll feel at root, hold on, can I even trust myself? That is exactly one of the most common consequences of gaslighting that a lot of people suffer from. One additional point about gaslighting that I think is especially important to understand is that sometimes one of the most confusing manipulation tactics and tricks a gaslighter will pull on a person is to, believe it or not, actually accuse the other of gaslighting them. So, an example, again, let's say you are upset with someone and you go to them and say, hey, I felt uncomfortable when you arrived at dinner, a half an hour late, and you've done that before, and I'm often waiting for you. And I really feel like I'm not important to you, or that you really just don't care. Now, again, the average person would listen, would pause, would reflect on that behavior, would put themselves in the shoes of the other person and say, I guess I can understand what you're saying. Maybe I would feel that same exact way. And so I will work on that. Well, individuals who gaslight and who are so quick to flip the script and to label others as the problem, a lot of times they don't have a lot of empathy. They don't think a lot about the feelings of others. They don't put themselves in the shoes of another person and try to imagine what that feels like. They just quickly externalize blame, and it's always the other person's fault. Sometimes, in some of these really toxic dynamics, the individual who is a gaslighter in an argument or a conflict will actually pull out the word gaslight and actually pull it out on the other person and say, you know what, I know exactly what you're doing. This is gaslighting. You're gaslighting me. And that is really bad for a relationship. And you really need to look at that. This is one of the most confusing experiences that some gaslighters will do, which makes you think, wait a minute, that's exactly what they're doing, but they're saying that I'm doing it. And what the individual on the receiving end of gaslighting often thinks is, hold on, I'm trying to explain 2 plus 2 is 4, right? There are some things that are just facts. There are some things that are clear, objective reality, right? But if you are having situations and circumstances with the gaslighter where they are making you question your reality, they are not always willing to agree that there are facts, that there is one objective reality, that 2 plus 2 is 4. But folks, I am here to tell you that there is such a thing as objective reality. 2 plus 2 does equal 4, although with gaslighters, they will often try to convince you otherwise. And if they are really pulling out their last resort tactics, they may even accuse you of gaslighting too.